You're watching Sport on Singapore. It is the show about all things Singapore sport. Just 2 months into 2019, but already some frenetic activity in the sports event scene. Today we're going to have a look at ASEAN Basketball League, Super League Triathlon, Rugby, as well as the Netball Super League. But first, we're going to have a look at football.
Yes, my pet topic, football, and it all started with the Community Shield recently. The first trophy on offer, first game of the season, and then the first trophy on offer. Home United taking on Albirex Niigata, double champions from last year. Albirex swept everything, 2017, everything in 2018. But that stopped in 2019. Home United clinching the Community Shield on a penalty shootout, 5-4 on penalties after it ended 0-0 after 90 minutes. Not the best game of football, but both teams slowly getting their way into the season, trying to feel each other out. And with the dominance of Albirex Niigata over, it'll be interesting to see how that affects them going into the new season.
Alright, we're going to do some quick predictions now on the top three maybe of for the SPL 2019. It's not going to be an easy task, but let's start with Duncan.
Well, you're putting me on the spot because it's one of those where at the end of the season I'm going to look very, very foolish, but I'm not going to put them in any order at this point because it is really, really very, very close to call. These Rovers look good, Home United look good, but watch out for Hougang United. The whole squad, you look at them, is quality from goalkeeper to defender to midfielder, and in attack they have Iqbal, they have Stipe Plazibat, they have Fazrul Nawaz, and they have just quality. And Faris Ramli, the big one that they signed, Singapore's shining jewel at the moment, he is there at Hougang United. So they promise goals in this coming season, so they are the ones to look out for. So basically, it is anybody's game in the Singapore Premier League.
Yeah, it's a very strong lineup indeed, and I see Albirex still being part of that top three, and probably Home United and Hougang United, like you said. So yeah, that's mine. We're going to have a look at basketball with the Singapore Slingers in the ABL. Don't go away. Right now we're about to look at the Singapore Slingers in the ASEAN Basketball League. The Slingers, of course, qualifying for the playoffs last night after defeating the CLS Knights.
Well, I think that is the first step for them, and that was always the main target, to just make the playoffs, but they want more than that. They are looking for that elusive ABL title, and they have the fantastic Xavier Alexander. The local boys are stepping up to the plate this year. But one person who I've been really, really impressed with is Yeong. Now, he is a close friend of Xavier, and Xavier, the X-Man, brought him over to Singapore and told Neo Bisiang that this guy, he's the real deal, he has the goods to deliver for the Singapore Slingers, and he has done that this year. He has stepped up to the plate, fantastic performances game after game, and he is one to look out for. So the pressure is not just on X to deliver. Now he has Jaren, and John Fields as well is putting up the numbers on the board for the Slingers as well. So they look very, very promising. They have a strong squad. Maybe this year, finally, they break that duck.
As you so rightly pointed out, the Slingers have already reached 2 finals in a row, the last 3-4 seasons, and only to miss out on that elusive title. If you haven't already done so, you should download also the Singapore Slingers app, where you can find out the latest fixtures, results, the league table, as well as match highlights, all available on the Singapore Slingers app. When we come back, we're going to have a look at rugby action.
Welcome back to Sport on Singapore, the show about all things Singapore sport. And now we shall delve into the world of rugby and the HSBC Rugby Sevens. But first, the Super Rugby League. John, tell me more about it.
In Super Rugby, the Sunwolves lose their season opener to Sharks. So let's have a look at some of the reaction from the fans as well as the players.
Screaming and shouting, and then the occasional "ow" was good as well. Today we decided to come up with this little Rugby World Cup. Please give us tickets, and well, we got a little, consolation prize, which is good enough for us. So we'll take it. We'll take it.
We're proud of. Fans are outstanding, and we look forward to every game we have over here in Singapore.
Yeah, it was tough. Obviously, the conditions, it was hot and it was humid, and the ball was wet, but we're obviously very happy with the 5 points. We've got loyal supporters everywhere in the world, and very happy to see some Sharks fans here, but very happy to go back to Durban as well now.
Looks like a fun atmosphere indeed. And next game of Super Rugby happening on the 23rd of March at the Singapore Sports Hub between Sunwolves and the Lions. Next up, HSBC Singapore Rugby Sevens. Duncan, it's gonna be a huge carnival atmosphere, lots of fun activities beyond world-class rugby on offer.
I'm looking forward to not just the rugby action, but also the carnival atmosphere. It's a whole family day out for those 2 days, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's just gonna be outside, inside, the action on the field itself, so it's something that I would wanna go.
If you haven't gotten your tickets to the event yet, you can do so at the Singapore7s.sg. What else is happening in Singapore sport, Duncan?
Well, we've touched on so many sports already, but we have to touch on netball, and the Netball Super League has started again this year, the 20th edition of this competition, and it's something different this year. There's a new rule in place where 2 under 21 players have to play at least 2 quarters of the match. So taking a leaf out of the Singapore Premier League's book, and this is to give the younger players a chance to show what they can do at the highest level of Singapore netball.
It's the elite clubs and youth development program for netball. Not to forget to mention as well that in the second round of matches for the Netball Super League, international players will also be added into the mix, with each club being able to bring in an international player. So we're going to be expecting a really feisty and hopefully exciting season of netball ahead. When we come back, we're going to have a look at the Super League Triathlon. Welcome back to Sports on Singapore. It is the show about all things Singapore sports. And we're going to have a quick look at the action that unfolded at 1°15 Marina over the weekend for the Super League Triathlon. Frenchman Vincent Louis stages a comeback to win after a flat tire put him out of contention on the first day in the elimination race. He wins the men's enduro on day 2, edging out Andre Schumann for the title by just 2 points. In the women's category, women's series leader Katie Zaferes finished as overall champion despite coming in second in the women's enduro.
Coming up next on Sports On, we will touch on the Team Singapore athletes.